Like most boys his age, Rhys Jones loved his football. But no one could have predicted that the game he obsessed about would be one of the last things he did as the 11-year-old left football practice the August before he was due to start secondary school in 2007. On his journey home, the Everton fan, whose story is being retold in ITV drama Little Boy Blue, was struck by a stray bullet in the neck as he crossed a pub car park. He had unwittingly walked into a feud between the Croxteth crew and the Strand gang. The stray bullet was fired by 16-year-old Croxteth's Sean Mercer as he was trying to avenge the death of a member a year earlier. One of his football coaches had heard of the shooting and drove his mother Melanie to the scene where her son lay dying. Paramedics spent an hour and a half trying to resuscitate him but were unable to save his life. The senseless death sparked a national outcry. Rhys' funeral was attended by 2,500 mourners dressed in bright colors and football kits, including some of the members of his favorite football team. His best friend Connor Irwin, now 21, told the Sunday People this weekend that the last time he saw Rhys he was wearing his gold Everton kit during a typical Tuesday night game of football. He said he expects he would have been a professional football player if the tragedy hadn't taken place. He was a good lad, funny, no one ever had a bad word to say about him. Never in any trouble and always up for a laugh. He said he loved his football and we just had a good group of mates. Although 300 officers were deployed to solve the murder, the investigation was slow and met a wall of silence, with locals too intimidated by the gang to give the killer's name on the record. Meanwhile, Mercer had dismantled the bike he was riding when he fired the shot and handed the antique Smith & Wesson revolver to a local boy who he forced to hide it in a dog kennel and then attic. Officers found the weapon when the child was on a family holiday and then did all they could to convince a youth, who was placed in a witness protection scheme, to testify. Mercer, who was arrested in the days following the shooting and then released, was finally charged 8 months later. He was sentenced to 22 years in prison and was recently moved to HMP Frankland in Durham, the same facility in which Peter Sutcliffe, the Yorkshire Ripper, is held. According to The Sun, he is hoping to be transferred to a lower category jail. Mercer's mother, Jeanette, then 49, was jailed in 2009 for 3 years after pleading guilty to perverting the course of justice by lying to police about the make of her son's bike. Several others were convicted, including Nathan Quinn, 2 years for assisting an offender, James Yates, 12 years for assisting an offender, Barry Case, 7 years for assisting an offender, Melvin Coy, 7 years for assisting an offender, and Dean Kelly, 4 years for assisting an offender.